When you're a coaster enthusiast, riding as many roller coasters, aka credits, as possible is one of your biggest goals. It will make you do anything from like driving a few extra hours away for one roller coaster. It'll make you go to the kiddie section at an amusement park.
You guys are too tall for this ride.
Too tall!
Yes, you have to.
No, we just walked all the way over here. But every once in a while, you ride that one credit that is really unique and special. So this is our top 10 most unique credits that we have ridden. Now, a little disclaimer. Unique is kind of a flexible term in this.
Yeah.
There'll be different reasons that each of these coasters make this list. A lot is just about the story behind the roller coaster. And not both of us has ridden every single one of these coasters, most of them.
Yeah, and what you mean is like I've ridden some that you haven't, and you've ridden some that I haven't. These are all coasters that at least one of us has ridden.
Yeah. So we can't wait to get into this list. But before we do that, we'd like to say thank you for coming and joining us. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below. And a huge shout out, as usual, to all our channel members. So now let's get into this video. We're going to go top 10 from 10 to number 1, of course. Starting out at number 10, I'll let you do this one because this is one that you have ridden that I have not.
Yeah. So this is going to be Blue Streak at Conneaut Lake Park, which unfortunately does not exist anymore as it was torn down a couple years ago. But
I think it was technically burnt down.
It was burnt down, yeah. It was a whole weird thing. They had new ownership that was really bad. Anyways, this ride was at Conneaut Lake Park in Pennsylvania, not too far away from Waldameer in Erie. Basically, this ride was definitely the sketchiest coaster I've ever ridden. There's people that have ridden it that say that people are working on the track and working on the structure as they're riding it.
Now coming in at number 9, it is Sea Dragon at the Columbus Zoo. Now, I think the thing about this is, one, it's the oldest operating roller coaster in Ohio that isn't a kiddie coaster. Technically, Little Dipper at Kiddie Park in Cleveland, that is the oldest operating coaster, but this is the oldest operating non-kiddie coaster. And also, it's just at a zoo. So I know that some zoos around the world and stuff have
not
roller
many
coasters, but it's very few.
Yeah, there's Comartin, obviously, which has Wildfire. That's like the big example, but that's really the only other big example that I can think of.
Now coming in at number 8, it is one of your favorite roller coasters, X2.
X2 is just one of 3 4D coasters in the world, and the only one that is built by Arrow. Now, this ride is at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and it's just an experience that you can't get, not even just with other coasters, but it's just a insane experience just in general. The seats rotate freely, not freely, it's controlled, but they rotate on their own during the ride, and it is very scary, probably the scariest coaster we've ever ridden. And
for me, one of them for sure.
And it is just an unbelievable experience and something that you just need to ride just to truly feel what exactly it's like. But I definitely want to get out and ride Edge of Nika at some point because that is, like I said, another 4D coaster. But yeah, you just don't find these rides anywhere.
Now coming in at number 7, it is the now defunct Kingda Ka. And I think we had to add this to the list because it was for so many years, from 2005 up until this past season, it was the world's tallest roller coaster.
And I still can't believe that it's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy that seeing all the footage of it being torn down, all the
truck. That's ridiculous. Yeah, we're just talking about it, past tense is just insane.
Yeah. So I think that tons of people have ridden this roller coaster and it was around forever. But I think anytime that you ride the world's tallest roller coaster, then it means something. That is something unique and makes our list, though down towards the bottom at number 7. But now let's get into number 6. We're going down to King's Dominion, where they had Volcano, another defunct roller coaster. This was an Intamin LIM launch coaster, and very unique. You popped out of the top of a volcano.
Yeah, a suspended LIM launch coaster.
Yeah, suspended.
So it is one of the few launch suspended coasters, at least it was, and it is basically just an Intamin Impulse, with the LIMs and the same trains and all that, but it did much more than just go back and forth. Yeah, you had the first launch, you made that turn, then you had the second launch that shot out of the volcano which was just a crazy experience. Now, we've only ridden this once back in 2017 or something.
I think 2018.
Whatever. It was a while ago, and yeah, we only got one ride on it. But just shooting out of that volcano was a crazy experience. And the whole ride, you're just really high up, doing those slow inversions. And there is literally nothing else like it that's still operating.
Okay, we are breaking into the top 5 now. We are going over to Knoebels, where we have Flying Turns. This was a house-made wooden bobsled coaster. Now, wooden bobsled coasters are unique on their own. This one, built in-house. They started building it like years ago, and then it just like the wheels had issues, and there were just tons of issues.
Yeah, and
with tons of stuff on the ride.
Yeah, and it had so many long delays of like being closed for years.
Like the first 2 times that we went to the park, it wasn't even open. And then finally, third time's a charm. We got to Knoebels for a third time and finally rode Flying Turns. Not the most crazy experience or anything like that.
But very cool and very fun.
Yeah, very cool and unique. And now talk about unique and wooden. Number 4 is one that you have ridden that I have not. Mm-hmm. And it is Timberhawk. And why is that so unique?
Yeah, it is Timberhawk at Wildways. Now, you could say it's unique because it's one of the few coasters in the Pacific Northwest, because there really aren't many, especially in Washington. But this is the only S&S wooden coaster, at least I'm like 99% sure it is the only S&S wooden coaster around. So S&S is known for steel coasters, primarily launch steel coasters. And riding an S&S wooden coaster is definitely an interesting experience. Now, I would say riding it, you couldn't really tell that it was like that different than other wooden coasters. It's mostly just a very bland coaster. It didn't do a lot. It's, borderline a family coaster. And it was still a decent ride and definitely just unique of being, the only S&S wooden coaster around.
Now, what we think is worthy of number 3 is Avalanche Run, that was at Cedar Point. Now,
this is the first coaster on the list that I have not ridden, and you have.
Yeah, so I rode this. It opened back in 1985, closed, I think, 90 or something like that, when it got turned into Disaster Transport. But I rode both iterations. I rode Avalanche Run and Disaster Transport. This was an Intamin bobsled. I think there were only like 5 made in the world or something like that. It's a little confusing because a couple of them switched as many as like 3 different parks. And it was only open, I think, for 5 summers at Cedar Point. All in all, in the roller coaster's life, 5 seasons is pretty rare. So this is a rare model by a manufacturer, and it wasn't around very long. So
I mean, to be fair, like the track itself was around for a little while, but like
the track itself was around until 2012 when they tore it down to build Gatekeeper.
Yeah, but the name and just the overall experience was only lasted like 5 years or so.
And being outdoors. Mm-hmm. So that was Avalanche Run. So now on to number 2. We're going to a roller coaster that we rode a couple years ago, thankfully, because right now it is officially SB&O, standing but not operating. It is Leap the Dips, and that was the world's oldest operating roller coaster, and I think that speaks for itself on why that made this list.
I mean, this ride was so cool. I was not expecting, I thought it was just going to be something like, it's the world's oldest coaster, but it's not really going to, I don't know, it's going to be, kind of fun, whatever. It was really fun. There's no restraint on it, which makes it, unique in itself. Definitely the only coaster that I can think of that we've ridden where you just sit down and there's no lap bar, there's no anything, no seatbelt even.
No nothing.
You just sit on this big cushy bench, and
it was very comfortable.
It was very comfortable. But you just go turn and do the little dips and stuff. It was really, really fun, and definitely way better than I thought it was going to be. But it was the oldest operating coaster, and it's not operating anymore, so it's kind of weird. But at least when we rode it, oldest operating coaster in the world. And
if they open it again, it will get that title once again. Mm-hmm. But we're not really sure what's going to go on with it. Lakemont Park, where it is in Pennsylvania, they said that the roller coasters, because there's a couple roller coasters there, and they closed them both down for the season last year. And finally, number 1, I think that this is well deserving to be number 1 because We rode this thing 17 times, but not many people got to ride it because it was only open for like 5 or 6 days. It is Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point. This thing lasted the preview days, and then I think the first like 4 or so days at Cedar Point after opening day. And then, as you know, it shut down, and they're hoping to get it back open for opening day. But as of right now, we rode a roller coaster that was only open
Yeah.
for like 6 or 7 days.
Yeah, now obviously coasters open and have issues like all the time, you know, they're delayed for a couple weeks, whatever. This is really the only example that I can think of right now where a coaster opened for like a week and then closed for the entire year with really no word of when it was going to be back open. So just definitely a crazy thing. And it's really weird. Like anytime we go to any other amusement parks, the people are always asking like if
Well,
one
because
of
I have a Top Thrill 2
Yeah,
shirt, so I wear it sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say if one of us is wearing a Top Thrill 2 shirt or whatever, people are always like, "Oh, Top Thrill 2, did you get to ride it?" We're
Yeah.
like, we rode it 17 times. We're like, "Oh my god, I've never ridden it." But yeah, just a something that not many people got to ride due to just how short of an operating season it had.
Yeah. That is it. 10 roller coasters. Let us know down in the comment section. Have you ridden any of these? Have you ridden any other crazy, unique roller
Yeah,
coasters?
there's tons
or
of
anything like
unique coasters out there in the world. So
Yeah, love to hear from
Yeah.
you guys. So I guess that is it for this video. We'd like to thank you for coming and joining us, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Beach Cliff Studios.